Today's video is about why it's actually useful to learn Chinese for your career. And my name is Moritz. For you guys who do not know me, I studied Chinese for my last 6 years and I've been working for 2 Chinese companies already. Without further ado, let's go and jump right in. Okay, the first and best reason to study Chinese is actually because of all the opportunities you unlock in your career. China has more than 1.4 billion inhabitants and has a GDP of around 18 trillion US dollars. In comparison to that, the USA is currently standing at around 25, but China is also growing very, very fast, so we expect them to exceed the USA at some point in the future. However, if you look at the living standard Europe or also USA is having right now, and if China in the future will come somewhere close to that, they're going to be much, much larger.
China is a fact. China is a megatrend.
Assuming they're gonna have a GDP per capita of some average European country or the USA, they're going to be far over 100 trillion US dollars in GDP, which would be more than 4 times the USA right now. Obviously, it's a big gap, but we are talking about the next 10, 20, and 30, 40 years. China is developing very, very fast, also on the educational side. For example, right now, China already has 4 times as many PhD as the USA. That means all the positions you're gonna have in universities and education and research and development centers and companies, they're also going to see a lot of applications coming from China. Last but not least, China is investing heavily outside of their own country. They're having a very, very high production of many goods, and they're also overproducing many of those goods. That means they need to export them. And also while exporting them, they're also building factories in other countries, building roads and infrastructures with the Belt and Road Initiative, but also in industrial countries, they're investing heavily. If you have not seen it, for example, in Germany, where I live, currently there's BYD, NIO, Alibaba, TikTok, Midea, Xiaomi, Temu and Shein. They're all investing, they're all starting the operations in the German market right now. So only from that, you're gonna have a lot of jobs and opportunities created in all countries of the world. A second reason why it's very smart actually for your career to learn Chinese is because of the skills you bring to the table. If you are an employer and you hire a Chinese speaking person, I have a lot of reasons not to fire him. If I have a supplier in China, he can be useful. If I have a customer in China, it can be useful. If I want to expand to the Chinese market, he or she can be useful. There's so many business cases you can think of where it's definitely useful to speak Chinese. Also to get in touch with all the people you're gonna meet there. And that's actually bringing me to my third point, the network. It's a really smart idea to learn Chinese because of the network you will access. Just think about it very plainly. Obviously, English is a great door opener for the global business, but Chinese is a door opener for the Chinese business. And the Chinese business alone is already so big that it's very, very interesting. They're having their own internet. You see many of the big Western companies not even operating there. Even me, I've been working for Alibaba in the last year, and I've been realizing that many of the executives and directors in my company, they speak somewhat English, but obviously it's better if you speak Chinese yourself, and it's easier to connect with them. It's easier to be remembered by them, and it's definitely gonna give you access to so many people in the world that you might benefit from at some point in your career. So why don't you go ahead and just extend your entire LinkedIn network by your WeChat network. Okay, and last but not least, I think we should also talk about what makes you specifically unique. And from my experience over the last 6 or 7 interviews I've had with different companies, learning Chinese has always been a kind of benefit for me. It has always been something where people remember me. They said like, oh, you speak Chinese? Why did you speak Chinese? Why did you choose so? What's your background? Was it hard? And it's always something you can talk about. It's always something that interests people. It's something that makes you stand out. There's so many people in the world studying business. There's so many people in the world who are engineers. Studying Chinese makes you somewhat unique, and it also gives you some kind of confidence that you did something that other people did not do. And in the end, I've realized, even though I've not used Chinese in all of those jobs I've been talking about, it's always been some kind of an advantage, and people like to hear about it. And I think the reason why that is the same reason why we trust lawyers so much. We trust judges and we trust doctors. And we trust all of those professions so much because we know every doctor and every judge has passed a very, very long and time-consuming education that gave them the right to practice their job. If you know that Chinese is a hard language and you see someone who's fluent in Chinese, HSK 5, 6 or something like that, they're gonna have to prove that you have some kind of willingness to, put yourself through something hard, and that's definitely giving you an advantage over other candidates. So those are my 4 tips why it is actually useful to study Chinese for your career. And I hope you guys found this video interesting. If you guys have any more questions, just let me know down in the comments. I'm going to see you guys again in the next video. Have a good day. See you guys. 再见。